Is positive thinking really going to solve my problems? I'm dealing with real life issues here. What can positive thinking possibly do for me right now? Positive thinking seems a lot like make believe. How do I solve my very real issues? Is positive thinking seriously just thinking happy thoughts when I'm faced with adversity? Because that sounds like an insane response to my very real problems. How can thinking positively change my life for the better? By the end of this video, you are going to fully understand the purpose of positive thinking and how it can benefit your life going forward on your journey. So, grab a cup of tea, stay tuned, and let's talk about it. Hello, Howell family. I'm your host, HC. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Tea with HC, where we talk about issues that concern you on your journey to being true to you. In this episode, we are discussing the purpose of positive thinking. In today's social media and online environment especially, we often hear and see many people advising us to think positively and suggest how much our thoughts have an influence over how we live. But how much of that is true? And can thinking positively truly change our lives? Well, yes, it can. Think of it this way. Let's say you have a group of friends. These friends are great and they love you, but you always think that they're going to do wrong by you. So, every time they invite you to a place, you think something suspicious is up their sleeves. So you act and treat them with precaution. Every time they invite you over to eat, you think they must have given you the least. So you consequently act unappreciatively towards their gestures. When you guys go out to party, you believe that they would be more interested in spending time with each other rather than with you. So, consequently, you act distant from them and keep to yourself. As demonstrated, these negative thoughts lead to actions that parallel their sentiment and thus become instruments to a negative self-fulfilling prophecy. Your friends will eventually stop spending time with you because who wants to be with a person that only thinks negatively of them? Yet, in your mind, you will think, you see, I knew they didn't love me. I knew that they were going to let me go and that they would do me wrong. Of course, you knew that that was going to happen. With the help of your thoughts, you created that reality for yourself. With the help of this example, you can imagine and grasp the idea that our lives become a product of what occupies our mind the most. And that may be the strangest secret. Because if we are creating a reality, why not create a positive one? I'll show you how positive thinking encourages a life that is true to you by helping you appreciate life, alleviating stress, relieving self-doubt, encouraging humility, and trumping the perception of fear. Hopefully this black tea stays warm. First, positive thinking helps you appreciate life. Always remember, your happiness exists in one place, and that is inside of you, and exists in one time, and that time can only be in the now. To appreciate life means to be cognizant of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, and take your first conscious breaths when you wake up in the morning. Appreciating the ability to think cohesively, to enjoy your space, and to have the possibility to give and receive love. Positive thinking is remembering that although life may have its challenges, you often have to let go of the image you once thought that life would be like and learn to enjoy the story that you are actually living and creating. As a wise man once said, the richest wealth is wisdom, and if time is the master and the revealer of all things, then the strongest weapon is patience, the strongest security is your faith, and the most effective tonic is laughter. This positive thinking helps you appreciate life by mentally molding you into failing forward, as opposed to seeing your setbacks as a conspiracy against you. Consequently, countering the possibility of dwelling on your mistakes and living in regret. Living in regret is the adversary of appreciating your life because it is the belief that your best days are behind you and that they exist in a moment in time that is no longer accessible to you. In contrast, positive thinking encourages the certainty that your best days are ahead of you and that you will achieve what you sought out to achieve, at least to some capacity, if you continue to strive forward on your journey to being true to you. Secondly, positive thinking helps alleviate unnecessary stress. Stress is often generated when we believe that we have no control over a situation that is affecting or can possibly affect our lives in a very drastic manner. However, it is often the case that you are blinded by your beliefs and that the way you think is what is actually causing the problem to be there in the first place. For example, let's say you have a romantic partner who you have just become official or serious with, and when you guys are together, everything seems to be great. However, when you guys are not together, you would only hear from your partner sporadically. Negative thinking would encourage you to believe that that person is being disingenuous with you. You think that based on what you believe you know, that person is probably hiding something, or does not really care for you in the same way that you would like to imagine. Little do you know, your significant other is going through traumatic family issues and is also super self conscious about sharing their problems with you, especially because they genuinely like you and don't want to push you away. Negative thinking will only encourage an unnecessary rift between the both of you, who otherwise truly want the best for each other. In contrast, thinking positively would have generated solutions to mend this feeling or instinct that you feel. Solutions such as communicating and addressing the situation to get a firm understanding of what exactly is going on. A bit of positive thinking would have pushed away negative assumptions and conclusions and considered the many possible reasons for the unwanted behavior. Always remember, if you are looking for a problem, it is easy to find one because you are the creator of that reality. Positive thinking helps you avoid the stress and agonies that negative thoughts produce, and thus encourage a positive life. Next, positive thinking helps relieve self doubt. It is often the case that we doubt our abilities and think the worst of ourselves before we think of the best. We think we are not smart enough, not tall enough, and not pretty enough whenever we are confronted with something that we deem to be the best available. Thinking this way stops you from creating opportunities for yourself because you feel unfit for the spoils of the quest. Positive thinking will encourage a more confident approach to situations that you face in your day to day life. Always remember, you are always at the right place at the right time. No two situations are ever exactly the same, so the time is always now. Positive thinking will help you come to terms with that understanding so that you can continue to go about your life without the burden of self doubting beliefs. With positive thinking, you begin to realize that doubtful thoughts only exist because you are giving them the power to exist. They would not be there otherwise. Always remember, your thoughts turn into actions, and your actions shape your life. Shifting to positive thinking will thus help you by promoting positive actions, consequently leading to the creation of a more positive lived experience. In fourth place, positive thinking encourages humility. Always remember, you are not above making mistakes. You are human, and not only is it okay to fail, it is necessary. As said by American artist and business mogul 50 Cent, joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. This quote rightfully implies that it would be very difficult to appreciate something if you weren't even aware of its value. For example, let's say you live in an area with warm tropical weather. All year round, you have lots of sun, and there are rarely any dramatic drops in the weather. Because you have always had the sun, it is likely for you to be unappreciative of the benefits of the sun and begin to loathe in your desire to have snow or simply fewer or very fewer warm days. However, if the sun all of a sudden stopped shining, then you would quickly understand its value because the plants and the vegetation around you would cease to grow and your entire life would change. You would then most likely pray for the sun to come back again. Positive thinking encourages humility by promoting the appreciation and deeper understanding and respect of the many situations and factors your life is benefiting from. Furthermore, it is often the case that you have to lose the things that you believe you love to find the things that can actually love you back. Thus, when you have a setback, positive thinking helps you navigate through calamity so that you can appreciate the blessings on their way, and this can be a very humbling experience. Don't get me wrong. At first, these losses may be shocking and cause for a troubled and agonizing mental state. Positive thinking will help you rise above the flood of negative thoughts during this period and help you sail towards the freedom of a better you. Finally, positive thinking trumps fear. The term knowledge is power is used very loosely, but it can be simply understood by considering that fear is the absence of knowledge. When we are afraid, we refuse to discover, we refuse to venture, we refuse to try new things, hence preventing our growth, understanding, movement, and maturation. However, most of our fears come from a lack of understanding, meaning knowledge becomes your power by giving you admission to overcome those fears that are preventing your ability to grow. A positive mindset encourages that leap over the wall of fear and helps you accept that although danger can be very real, all fear is illusion based. Thinking positively encourages you to venture into the perspectives you seldom understand and challenge the ideas that you fear, hence helping to develop a more enriched lived experience. This thought process encourages a peaceful mental state, and from a place of peace and stillness, all creation is possible. To put it all together, we can now assess that positivity has a significant purpose in your life by helping you appreciate life, alleviating stress, relieving self doubt, encouraging humility, and trumping the perception of fear. We can now clearly see that positive thinking not only has a purpose, but is a very necessary element to having a fulfilled and successful life. What do you think about positive thinking? I would love to read your comments as I finish this cup of tea. So please, comment below, like this channel, and consider subscribing to our channel if you haven't already. That's it for today's episode of Tea with HC, Howell family. Hope this helped you appreciate positive thinking from a different perspective. I'll see you here next time on Howell Consultations, the how-to being true to you.